We're reaching the end of the Championship season, and what a season it has been. We've had history made at the top of the table, with 2 teams reaching 100 points for the first time ever, and a team not being automatically promoted despite getting 90 points for just the second time ever. But we also had a relegation battle which went down to the final day, with 5 teams involved. We had perhaps the biggest underachievement of a season in Championship history, with Luton suffering back-to-back relegations, and we had one of the most dramatic endings to a game in playoff history. It's certainly been a season to remember, but I tell you what, I think next season could be even better. Maybe I'm getting carried away talking about it before the season's even ended, but I'm buzzing with the different stories and narratives we could have. It genuinely has the potential to be an all-timer of a season, because, you know what? Let's go through it one by one. I'm Ryan Dilks from the second tier, and this is why next season will be the greatest in Championship history. We'll start with the obvious, and that's the fact we've got a lot of very exciting stories around the teams who are new to the league next season, particularly the ones coming up from League One. Birmingham City and Wrexham are 2 of the most exciting sides we've ever seen come up to the Championship. Birmingham blitzed League One with the biggest points tally ever in an EFL season. They will be strong. They've got money to spend as well. We could potentially be looking at another Ipswich Town here, but more on that later. Overall, it's great to have Birmingham back in the Championship anyway, because they're a massive club, a big fan base. They'll be a credit to the division itself. And so with them back in the second tier, that's always a good start. And then, of course, there's Wrexham. Now, my video last week was about whether Wrexham will win promotion from the Championship, and whether they do or they don't, it's going to be fascinating to see how they do. They're definitely going to be making waves in the Championship, signing some big names, splashing the cash. In fact, it's just exciting enough to see what they do in the summer. They're going to be bringing a lot of eyes and media attention to the league, which can only be seen as a good thing. It's also fascinating though to see who wins the League One playoff final. It could be Leyton Orient, who would offer something different. It would be the first time they've been in the second tier in 43 years. Or we could get Charlton, a club who have been in League One for far too long in my eyes. But more notably, we would get Nathan Jones back in the Championship. No one, and I mean no one, in English football rattles people as much as this guy. It would be great content. We'll also have 3 massive sides coming down from the Premier League, each with their own narratives, but more on that a bit later on. So it's going to be really exciting to see how each of these 6 sides coming into the league will get on. But here's a reason to be interested about the sides already in the division. For several years in the Championship, you could guarantee the same clump of teams will be in the middle of the table each and every year. I'm looking mainly at Bristol City, Preston, and to a lesser extent Swansea. A couple of others are probably worthy of a shout as well. But this past season, that looks to have changed everything. Bristol City have finally broken out of their mid-table mould and become a genuinely exciting side, finishing in the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. I can almost guarantee as well this isn't a one-off. This has been down to years of building and planning. So I would definitely expect them to be challenging for the playoffs again next season at the very least. Something will have gone seriously wrong if they end up finishing 12th again. And then you've got Preston, a side who had finished between 9th and 14th in 8 of the 9 seasons prior to the one just gone. But they finished 20th last season after a near capitulation in the final third of the season, their lowest league finish in 10 years. Is that a sign of things to come, with key players already having left the club, uncertainty around the manager's position, and a set of owners who historically never spend money that much, and when they do, they don't spend it very well? There's a lot to suggest it may very well be the case. And then the Swansea, who have become more recent additions to the mid-table mediocrity tag, with 3 mid-table finishes in the past 3 seasons. They're probably the side who are emitting the most mid-table energy right now, but they've got a new, fairly inexperienced manager at the helm. So maybe not, who knows? The point is, before, you'd have a clump of teams in the middle of the table every season, and then the rest of the league would get decided around them. We might not have that anymore. We could be getting a season where nearly every side could finish just about anywhere, and that is very, very exciting, particularly at the top and bottom of the table. This video is brought to you by our good friends at SBK. If you haven't heard of them yet, then where have you been? SBK's comprehensive range of markets and exclusive offers makes it the best place to bet on the Championship this season. Whether you're creating an accumulator or customising your bet builder, SBK has got you covered. Don't believe us? Sign up today and find out. We can start off by saying Birmingham and Wrexham definitely won't be involved in a relegation battle next season. How many times have we been able to say that about two sides coming up from League One? But that means a lot of teams will be pushed down the pecking order towards the relegation battle, and you could make a fair argument for half the teams in the division potentially being in danger. Now, it's hard not to look at a team like Oxford or whoever is the winner of the League One playoff final and not be concerned about them, because in terms of resources they will be punching above their weight in the Championship. However, as Oxford showed this past season, they're more than capable of going toe-to-toe with most sides in the division, and if they have a similar season to the one that they've just had, they can outperform three teams. You've got plenty of sides who are fortunate to stay up last season, most notably Preston. If the season were 2 weeks longer, they would have probably gone down. And as alluded to just a second ago, there's reason to believe it wasn't just a one-off. You've got Stoke City, a side who have been circling the drain for a long time now, and only seem to be getting closer and closer to going down that plug hole. And there's Hull City, whose owner keeps sacking managers after they've done a good job for them. Hull are experiencing a lot of change, but it's got to be said, they're not the only one. There are several, even though the season only finished a couple of weeks ago. Watford sacked Tom Cleverley in one of the most unjust sackings the Championship has ever seen. They were being tipped to go down last season, but they finished mid-table. Was Cleverley propping them up? I'm inclined to think so. QPR have been in varying degrees of danger over the past 3 years, and now they've got Marty Cifuentes set to leave the club. Could they be in danger once again? And we've got the never-ending soap opera, which is Sheffield Wednesday. Danny Rule looks certain to leave the club. How will they get on without him, with Depon Chansiri still running the club? There are other examples I could throw in here, but the bottom line is this. Next season, there are so many sides who you could make good arguments for being in trouble. I think we all know it's been increasingly the case in recent years that newly relegated sides have dominated the promotion places in the Championship. 12 of the last 17 sides to win promotion had been in the Premier League in either of the 2 seasons prior. That'll be 13 from 18 if Sheffield United win the playoff final. But there's a chance next season might not be so straightforward. Unless something remarkable happens on the final day, the 3 teams coming down will have the lowest combined points tally in Premier League history. Now keep in mind, they're going to be breaking the record which was set last year, and 2 of those teams may be going straight back up. So does it actually mean anything? Maybe not. However, Southampton are coming down as nearly the worst Premier League side ever. And let's be honest, how many of these players are you looking at and thinking they are way too good for the Championship? And anyone who you are saying right now is more than likely going to be leaving. They've got an owner who reportedly wants to sell as well, so there's quite the rebuild going on at Saints. They look like they're going to be appointing Will Steele, which will be a very good start, but a lot of work needs doing on that squad. By the way, first South Coast derby in the league in 13 years next season. Yes, please. Another reason why next season's looking so exciting. We've also got Leicester coming down from the Premier League, who have been appalling. They're definitely not as strong as the last time they came down, and they've got lots of players leaving. The fans have been protesting against the club's owners, and considering the last time they were in the Championship they were struggling to meet financial regulations, it's unclear how much money they'll have to spend. We also don't know who's going to be managing them, because Ruud van Nistelrooy is almost certainly not going to be there. And then there's Ipswich Town, who may be the exception to the rule, because I think they'll almost certainly have the strongest squad in the Championship next season, even after players have left. But if Kieran McKenna leaves, will they be as good? Who knows? There is every chance all 3 of those sides end up being very strong again next season, despite their circumstances. However, they may find themselves having more competition than the top 3 did this past season. You would expect whoever loses the playoff final this weekend to be strong again next season, so there's them first of all. You've got the aforementioned Birmingham and Wrexham. We're yet to see how much money they spend, but one would imagine it's going to be a lot, so could they possibly be challenging for the automatics? Coventry City have had a lot of money spent spent on their squad and will be looking to go a step further than they did this past season with a full campaign under Frank Lampard? Could Bristol City even go one better? What if they use this campaign as a platform to better things? I don't think you can completely rule it out. And there's Middlesbrough as well, who always spend a lot of money. If they can get their act together, they should be competing around this part of the table. There may even be someone I've not even mentioned who surprises us all and does a lot better than expected. That's the beauty of the Championship. It's not like the Premier League. We can have teams come out of nowhere and be genuine promotion contenders. And while that unpredictability may not have been as strong in recent years, this coming season has the potential to be one of the most unpredictable we've seen in a long time. And so that means this could be the most competitive Championship season in years. At the top and bottom of the table, there are so many teams who could be involved. Just in terms of the clubs we have though, there are so many big fan bases and so many interesting stories to follow. Even if it doesn't end up being as competitive as we'd hope, there's an awful lot to be excited about with next season, and that's before we even see each team's transfer business. The Championship is the greatest league in the world in terms of unpredictability and drama. It shows that each and every season, and next season is promising to deliver that in abundance. And there we have it. This has been why next season will be the greatest in Championship history. Do you agree with me? What are you most excited about next season? Let me know in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. I've been Ryan Dilks from the Second Tier, and a big thank you for watching.